Hello everybody and welcome to another Beyond All Reason video. Today we are on a map that I don't think we've ever seen before on the channel called Star Watcher. Don't know what stars you're seeing on such a cloudy day, but still. We are today on a 2v2. This replay was actually submitted to me by one of these players who shall remain nameless. Now, if you do want to send a video replay to me, maybe I will put it on the channel. Do that via the Discord that's in the description below. Now, what do we have here? So we have, for the red team, Stardom with an OS 44, and the highest OS is Brawl. And on the opposite side, we have the Jester, Mr. Akumar, OS of 57, and finally 1,000 ticks. I think we might just call them like 1k or something like that, because saying 1,000 ticks every time might get a little bit confusing. And anyway, so there are Akumar is Cortex, Glorp is Cortex as well, and so Stardom. So we've got a full Cortex side on the left hand side of the map, and then a mix on the right hand side. So Cortex supremacy. Now let's have a look at the map as we zoom on out. So plenty of metal extractors to be had. Actually, if we just look at this side and basically see that it's mirrored. So you have a triple here, here. I'm just going to cross it here, 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 and here. So there is a lot of metal to be had on this map, and so we're expecting a lot of units ramping up very quickly to lots and lots of units, or we're going to see maybe a transition to tech 3 perhaps, if the game runs on that long. It is split between 2 players, but obviously this is a 8-player map by the looks of it, so you know, if there's enough metal for 8 players for it to end up going to Tech 3, there's enough for it to be 2 players on each side to go to Tech 3. But ticks, not using ticks, which is a bit bad on his namesake there. He should have gone ticks if his name is ticks, but going vehicles, and does manage to get the expansion con of Stardom there, doing a pretty decent job about that. Meanwhile, right on the north-hand side, we see Akumar sending over some rascals here. True to what Akumar is, he chooses the same unit that matches him. Making their way in there. Will trouble to get anywhere, though, as Glorp has done a pretty good job at kind of blocking all of the avenues of attack. One of Tick's rovers do manage to get in, but the amount of value that that's going to be able to get is pretty much non-existent. And so, saying that, the Rascals did manage to at least delay a bit of expansion of Glorps. So far, the red team has done no form of aggression here at all, just playing very, very defensively. And Akumar is able to delay another metal extractor being built. I don't know if he's going to get this one in time. It's going to be extremely difficult. Nope, he doesn't. Just short, needed a little bit longer. But you got to remember, in all this time that these and all this time, the blue team have been sending up scouts. The red team has been amassing grunts to form an actual combative front line. Saying that, though, Tix has moved up very far forward with his commander. Akumar has kept his commander in base, as is the whole of red team. And although the scouts are great, I don't know if there's quite enough to manage to make it through here. And these scouts will end up being, let's see, 374 metal wasted if they're not able to get through. Saying that, though, they do push past a single grunt, and they're now through to the back line. There is one as well that's managed to get in here that's taken out one metal extractor. These guys may be enough to take out that comm at a pretty significant rate. And some good aggression here from Akumar. Looks like he's attempting to dive. Yep, on the constructor. Taking a little bit too long. Comes back. Does manage to pick it up. And although they do a decent job at dealing with these grunts, the spare backup grunts on their way will stop any further damage after that one metal extractor is built. But still, we're losing an expansion con and 2 additional metal extractors this early on is pretty tough. Stardom, obviously, of course, losing his own expansion con. Meanwhile, the blue team has lost nothing of value, at least as of yet. And you can see that the metal a second number is very much on the blue team's side right now, as they've just had all this time to build up and expand. Saying that, though, a decent chunk of grunts, 12 of them in fact, have managed to make it round the back of Tick's base. And Tix will now start losing a substantial amount of metal extractors because he doesn't really have the units here to contest. And that will also push round into the back of Akumar's as well. Akumar also having a scramble here to fight this. There is also just off screen there a red grunt that's also managed to make it by. Does that get stopped by the incisors? That's good. But this is still a reasonable chunk of units that, although the blitzes and incisors will attempt to slow down, they will still get value before that happens. You can just see the line there where they've gone round and not really had to do anything. But there we go. Finally mopped up. There are 7, 8 metal extractors lost by that run by, though. That's a considerable amount of damage, considering that wasn't really dealt on the opposite side. So all of that early raiding that took place kind of already set back. Also, the fact that both of these players are vehicles means that they can't just send out a res bot and res all of these metal extractors, because they are still, most of them, sat there. Meanwhile, Tix is applying a lot of pressure, way over halfway across the map here with just 3 blitzes and a dream, intending to just try and hold back the yellow player here. Now, a couple of LLTs will not be enough to stop such a large force of grunts if Stardom does decide to just go in. And now with a vehicle in the back coming in, a pounder as well, we'll probably make pretty short work of this LLT wall. And with all of the grunts that are here, it wouldn't surprise me if we maybe see a dive for the commander. Stardom looks somewhat hesitant, deciding to not go in with all his forces. Only actually goes for the single metal extractor point, not really pushing too far forward. He is going now to clean up this bottom one. Surprising that both players are leaving this bottom part basically completely alone here, not really contesting it at all. Tix is intentionally not getting his units near the pounders, and working together now with Akumar here to do a bit of a joint attack, forcing Grump's forces south as Akumar's forces also make their way around. Grump having to position his comm here in an attempt to D-gun, asking for E here to use the D-gun, but Tix turns around. Yeah, a bit of a hole here that Tix hasn't really dealt with yet. Will we see some economy damage here, though? One solar gone. Second one gone as well, and now moving his forces up and away to wow, draw them off. So if Akumar manages to go around here, but all the forces have been drawn off this way, then obviously that works quite favorable. If we actually click Glorp, he doesn't know where those units are. He clearly saw them coming. That's why he's moving everything over there to stop this. Glorp has not been doing too well, to be honest with you. He's barely left his base. You can see that Stardom has pushed up to here at least. He's gone pretty far this way, built armed metal extractors the whole way to try and delay some form of push. Otherwise, not doing too well. I'm curious as to how he got up here. Can this bot actually walk up there? Oh my goodness, it can right there. That does not look like an area that you should be able to walk up with a bot. That looks like a sheer cliff. What the hell? All right, well, more you know, I guess. Now, unfortunately for Akuma, his forces are going to get massively sandwiched here in between a group of grunts and the incisors and stuff, and also a pounder there from the bottom as well. So that entire force now is going to get absolutely decimated, leaving quite a lot of metal to be had in this top corner. Over 1,000 combined there, 1.1-ish. And Tick's just building mass amounts of LLTs, not sending a constructor forward here in an attempt to build more valuable defenses, should we say, like a beamer or something. But with actual tanks coming out from Tix here, he may be able to put a stop to this push pretty quickly, as all of the tanks of Stardom are pretty heavily damaged. And also with that, Stardom has moved most of his units and given them to Grump. So in a potential weak spot here, debates going for Stardom's comm there, but decides to change his mind. And it looks like, according to this message here, Tech 2 has been made by Akuma. Stardom's comm really, really low. 10%, 8%, 5%. Is he going to go in for the finish?
Commander destroyed.
Stardom down. 1 comm down. 1 to go for Team Blue. And while Akuma is kind of struggling to hold this side off a little bit, all of the units that Tix was making have been sent up to assist Akuma. Bear in mind, with that Tech 2 transition means Akuma is a little bit out when it comes to units being produced. So the rush to get Salamanders out in order to stop this has helped him significantly, but he's still kind of lost a bit of a foothold up there and just taking pressure from pretty much everywhere right now, as you should do if you go Tech 2. You should expect to be pressured. Glorp has transitioned to Tech 2 himself, though, and has just gotten the very first Tech 2 constructor out and about. Second one shortly after. The question will be, will he keep building units, or is he going to kind of hold off to try and build up his eco a little bit? Straight into Salamanders. Okay, not a single one of these units have been gifted to his teammate, though, which is somewhat poor sportsmanship. You can see that Tix did it straight. Well, not Tix, sorry. Akuma did it straight away. Literally the second constructor that came out, he gifted it to Tix so that Tix could get up his economy as well. Now, this is quite a group of units that Stardom is amassing here. As we see 43 units, and Tix has nothing. Oh, Glorp thinks he's dead. You've got Tech 2. Why are you done so? Mostly because he's not managed to expand at all, really. Yeah, Pounders did pretty well against Salamanders, considering how small they are. Keeping them pinned down is not a bad choice. Glorp's still not pushing out at all. Like, he should be up here. Well, I mean, realistically, he should be here. They should have split down the middle, but nothing. I don't know what Glorp's trying to insinuate with that ping, other than that green and blue have pushed up an extremely long way. I mean, Grump, you've got Tech 2. You haven't given your Tech 2, your teammate a Tech 2, and you're asking them to change factory. The only one stopping 1,000 ticks just pushing straight through at the moment is the sheer production of Stardom. But there is nothing stopping this push going straight through except for Stardom's units. If Tix really wants to, he could push, but it's going to be more like this, and he's going to be taking attrition damage the whole time. Instead, it looks like Tix is playing a bit defensively here, just kind of staying inside the LLT ranges, or twin guard ranges, I guess. This is a significant army advantage if these were being used effectively by Stardom, using them all, but instead he's only using a few units at a time. Kind of segregating off the unit types. To be fair, they do behave differently, so it kind of makes sense. A res ball too big. That is a lot of resurrected units indeed. Unfortunately, I did not see who got the reclaim of the commander wreck. That's kind of important. At the same time, we see the Glorp units. Considering Glorp said he was donezo. Oh, that is a big army now approaching the center. I kind of want to keep an eye on both because of Akuma being somewhat at risk here. Oh, the Tsar's coming out. Good, good. Now, Azar, this is great and all, but Azar will make short work if this keeps on. It's interesting to see that both of the blue and red player have gone heavy Tech 2, like heavily into Tech 2. And both the green and the yellow player have both stuck on Tech 1. Still no Tech 2 con gifted to Stardom here at all. Desperately, Tix is just trying to delay this force as long as possible, hoping for those Tsars to kind of make an appearance here. They are getting a bit spread thin, though, and this might be enough where Tix just turns around on this force here and is able to do a decent amount of damage. Both teams are building some air. Mostly fighters, though, coming out from Stardom just to stop a bombing run, of course. How much value will this first star shot get from the main army here of Stardom, though? It's yet to be seen. Landing on the Salamanders. He needs to be hitting this force here, really. This is the threat down here. The Stardom units. Instead, kept separately to fight the Salamanders. Not the best unit to really deal with Salamanders. So spread out. Tix is losing ground bit by bit here. He really needs that help. One Tsar's already dead, though, up here. And there we go. Right, so what we got going on? Fighters, only fighters being produced by Stardom. We see Tigers coming out from Glorp. Oh, and the Tsar's now gifted to Tix here. This will make a huge difference for Tix. Able to deal with this Resbald army. These will now really struggle to get anywhere now. And you can also see that the number is starting to whittle down. Tix just now able to actually get all of the reclaim that's there. 6.4k. At the same time, Glorp is not able to amass enough units here to deal with the Tigers, having to build some Scorpion pop-ups in an attempt to try and stop this. Stardom has had to go Tech 2 himself here in order to get more economy. although those aren't as important as this massive push by Tix here. Just keeping that pressure piling on. And rather than just going straight towards Stardom, looks like maybe doubling down on the attack on Glorp here. Probably the mindset is you just take out one of these players, it's pretty much game over, really. Great work by Thousand. Tix manages to get right in the base, but the units are stopping just short. Tix keep them moving. Shurikens have arrived in an attempt to try and mitigate the damage. Now, these individual solars are not the biggest loss with the fusions in the center here. I don't know if those green units will make it all the way in. Got a Zava Zar slug match down at the bottom there. I do feel like Glorp is a bit quick to give up. Don't get me wrong. You've got an entire enemy army in your base. It's not good. But they did kind of GG way before then. No fusions down though. And this is almost been dealt with as soon as these shurikens come. Oh, okay. Never mind. Rather than continuing, he's just pushed straight into Stardom's base. Tix doing pretty much all the work in this game. Akuma has just kind of been building up economy, dealing with what's coming in. Akuma's comm is still alive. And that's pretty much it. No base for either of the Glorp or Stardom here. There is still a T2 factory left for Glorp, but Stardom's pretty much lost all of his units, all of his factory. He's got 2 Tech 2 constructors, and I would argue that part of the problem here for the red and yellow team is teamwork. The green and blue just did a lot better at working together. They gifted a lot of units back and forward between each other to try and make the most of it. Again, that Tech 2 constructor gifted as the second unit out of that factory really helped Tix ramp up that unit production. And Stardom, although he did very well with what he had to, in the end, build his own Tech 2 in order to just get a constructor. So yeah, and for someone who said it was GG, Glorp now has taken Stardom's base and is still playing. Don't quite know what the plan is there. If he was the one that was willing to resign and is now continuing on. Now, to be fair, the blue team's commanders are in somewhat risky positions with one here and one here. And oh, Akuma's final play now. You can tell he's not playing properly. Look, he's built like an arrow wall behind a bulwark. Oh, fighters trying to come in to deal with the gunships, but there's Tech 2 fighters there already. They do manage to take out a decent amount of those gunships, though, before the fighters even arrive. As they're now chased off. I don't know what you're doing, Glorp. I can't believe it. Look at this. Akuma's just been sat in base. He's already got 3 aphuses, 6 fusions, and he's just building up mass amount of E-converters across the map. It's like, that's fine. Not a big deal. Ticks, you can 2v1, basically. They're going to try and hunt down the commander. They'll probably, I'll laugh if they all die to these AAs here. They're not being controlled, they're just F moved. And the bombers just behind, also going for the exact same targets. And guys, he's got fusions. A-solars are not the big deal here. And these gunships are now just basically hunting for the commander. Not really too bothered about what's actually going on here. The economy difference is so drastic that it's not a big deal. I find this is also quite funny. Look. Come on, what are you doing? He's like, oops. Well, they're dead. He just gave up on them, basically. Oh, it did get built. The battle of the century. Pop-up turrets versus LLTs. No, it's going after the construction bots rather than the LLTs. Oh, dear. Well, although the end here is dragging out a bit, I don't see any way Glorp wins this. He just kind of delaying the inevitable. Fair play for not giving up, but he did. He was the one that wanted to give up to begin with. So yeah, there's that. Trying to scale up his fusion economy, but he's only just basically made it to the same level of fusions as Akumar has, let alone the Aphuses. And with the main bombers here on their way in, strap bombers, we'll keep an eye as the entirety of the fusions go down, which is what I'm guessing they're going for. Watch the beautiful explosions. Here they come. Oh, the bomber crash landing manages to take out some build power as well. Second run, do they get the other fusions? Yeah. Gotta love explosions. And with that, he calls the GG. Well, hope you all enjoyed this 2v2.
Battle ended.
Well played to Tix, really working very well outside of their OS range. And yeah, that's it. See you all next time.